Okay, so in this video, I'll be going over reverse arbiters, which is a trick in Rando to access the second half of Arbiter's grounds without doing the first half. And this will, right now, like the date of recording, you are able to freely, like assuming you have the portal up here, then you have nothing preventing you from just walking in here. In the future, there will probably be settings where some of them might have a wall up here to where you can't do this. So this trick is only relevant based on settings where you can actually enter from the back here. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, this is more of a rando trick and not a vanilla trick. But okay, if you just enter, then the boss fight doesn't start, so you actually have to turn to human. And then that'll play this scene. Running down here might be faster as wolf potentially, but you need to be human to trigger that as to actually start the fight. So anyway, what we're going to do now is die in the boss fight, just like this. And the reason we're doing this is because when you game over this way, it will place you outside the boss room and not back at the start of the dungeon. If we were to save quit in the boss room, then it would put us back at the start of the dungeon, which means we're still in the first half and we would still have to do all of the pose. Okay, so now that we've game overed and continued, so it'll put us here, and it'll always put us down to 3 hearts. So in this file, I set it to 4 hearts to where we can get one like that. I don't know that any of these other ones have it, but okay, actually they do. So yeah, I guess it's a bit RNG. But anyway, you may want to grab some of these hearts, because if you fail this trick, you'll have to void in the sand in order to spawn back up there so you can get on this platform, because you need to be on this platform for the trick, and if you fail it, you need to get back up here. And yeah, voiding in the sand costs a heart each time. So anyway, what we're going to be doing here is doing an extremely, well, I don't know if extremely, it's very precise, LJA to land on the broken wall there, and then we'll basically be able to jump off that wall and access the second half of the dungeon without doing the first half. So that'll, like if you have vanilla spinner, for example, you could go get spinner pretty quickly if you were to start with a portal, mirror chamber portal. But anyway, so here's the setup for the LJ to get in this specific position. So get in the corner and then out of the corner 3 times, sword, 2 jump attacks, and then we're going to aim. If you see this sort of black jut in the ground, so this is beyond the wall, that's something in the ground. What we want to do is sort of aim in the middle of the bottom part of this. So like we want the orange dot to kind of be cut by that bottom edge of it. So that second line is cutting through the orange dot. And then we just aim up, and I like to target 1, 2 like that. And then once the boomerang hits the wall is when we'll do the LJ. So like that. And then I tapped L after I pressed A to do the LJ, just to prevent the camera from turning around and looking weird to where you can't really see anything. But you don't have to do that. Let's see. Should have a save state. Okay, so yeah, I'll show that one more time. So we do 3 of these, and 2 of this, and this gets us in a very precise position, and then this angle is also very precise. So we're kind of cutting through that bottom edge, and if we don't press L, there's kind of what it looks like if you don't press L. So you don't have to press L. But alright. So if you just want the setup, then you're good to go. That's all you have to do. It is very precise. And so I'm going to go into some details about why we're doing exactly what we're doing now. But if you don't care about that, then that's the setup. But anyway, now we'll be going into detail. So I have some save states in TPGZ where you can see our position and angle and that kind of stuff on the right side of the screen. The angle doesn't actually matter. And in fact, the only part of the position that we need to look at for this is the Z position. And the Z position in this case is basically, for the most part, how far left and right we are here. It's not perfectly lined up on the axis like that, but that's the main idea. So as the number gets lower, and when I say lower, I'm going to be talking about absolute value. So like technically the number is more positive, but I'm talking in terms of like the raw number there without the sign. So yeah, it gets lower as we go to the right, and it increases as we go to the left. Now when we go into the corner here and move out to the right, you can see we're at 719. So I'll look at those last two digits, 19.08. If we were to do that, then there's a range of values we can actually move out to. So an example of a really far out left one, this is the furthest left I was able to get it to put me at after moving into the left corner and then moving out to the right ones. So 728, and then we have 718. And in fact, you can get it slightly further right of this as well. But as you can see, it's a pretty big range, 10 units. And in fact, the position that we need to end at is only about 10 units wide. So you can probably see why this would be a problem. So just to show initially what I was doing to get in the correct position, I was doing a lineup like this. So like that, for example. And then if we do this, you can see our position is at 885. The main number to focus on here is the 85. So anywhere in the 80s for the Z position is good. 85 in the middle, that's perfect. It'll work. Perfectly fine. The highest you can get to and have it still work is about 90.4 something. Once you get to 90.7, it's not going to work anymore. And if you get down into the 70s, then you'll also run into problems. Like 74 doesn't work. 77 might not work. I don't know. But if you're anywhere like, I'm not sure about 80 flat, because usually I'm like 81 at the lowest. But if you're between 81 and like 89 something, then it should work every time. Now just to show how precise that is. So like there's 89, 84, 80. So you can see I'm barely moving, right? So yeah, the actual spot you have to do, so like this 92, that's not going to work. That's just straight up not going to work. And if we go here like 74, that's not going to work either. For the LJ, you'll end up bonking and not actually landing on the wall. So anyway, the reason we do it this way, so the reason we do like the move out, move back, move out, move back, once you've done this 3 times, your Z position will start to stick around 18.5. So right now it's 18.39. And if we just keep doing this, 18.43, 18.45, it's going to be around 18.5-ish each time. And in fact, this is barely far enough right. Because if I was doing a my lineup that I showed previously, which put us in the middle of the 80s, then I would actually move to the right about here. See, and that put us at 81, which works perfectly fine as well. However, it is faster to not do that. Especially in Rando. If I move back to Rando, then you can see like these are much faster than it would be to like you know, do something like that. So that's why, oops. So that's why I'm doing the 1, 2, 3, because despite having to do it 3 times as fast. But okay, let's say we've done the moving out to where we're around 18.5 with a number, right? So I'll actually just use this save state and get right up. So we're at 18.64. If we do a jump attack and we wait for the movement to stop each time, so you can see we're at 90.7, which 90.7 is not going to work. That's outside of the range. 90.4 is about the highest you can get. But if instead we do these jump attacks quickly, so you can see now we're at 89.5, so we actually are about 1 unit closer to the right when we do the jump attacks quickly, which is nice because we obviously want to do the quicker thing in general, so that works out. But essentially, what's going on with this setup is ideally, let's say we start from here. In a perfect world, we would actually be to the right, like here. But that setup is slightly slower. So we're doing a combination of 2 things in order to just barely get far enough right. Because if we just move to the right once, and then we just do 2 jump attacks, then you can see we're at 91, which isn't far enough. So the 2 things that we're doing, so that we move slightly more right, and we just barely get far enough. The first one is that we move out 3 times in order to get that Z position out of the 20s and guarantee that it's going to be around 18 point something. And then the second thing we're doing is quickly doing the jump attacks. And even with all that, that'll just get us with the Z position of 89, which is actually just barely in our range. However, it is in the range, so it should work. And you can consistently get it to be 89 like this. But yeah, anything in the 80s works. So we'll go back to this one, just to do the trick again. I don't want to do it on the TPGZ save state because there's like a weird sound thing due to the Rando, whatever. So I do have a RAM viewer watch file thing open to where I can see my positions as I do this, so I'll just read them out. So this is 19, 18.7, 18.7. So then we'll do these quickly. That puts us at 89.7, which is within our range. Now to go over this again quickly. Well, let me do the trick. So you can see this black thing that we're looking at. Let me do the trick and get down there. And then try to see what that actually is on the ground. Okay, so I think I see what it is. Let me get rid of these guys if I can do a quick spin. Okay, so I think it's this thing. So see how it like juts out to the left in town? So this corner, I'm pretty sure this is what we're aiming at. And from up there, excuse me, you see this lower edge like this that I'm walking on? This is the thing that we're using as the visual cue. And basically right kind of just perfectly in the middle, split right down the middle of this lower edge here, is where I'm trying to put the orange dot in the middle of the aiming reticle. So if we look at that again, so 3 times, then 2 quick jump attacks, and then you can see that, right? You have this left line, then you have this line that goes down and to the right. So this lower line, we just want to go right in the middle of that, and then 1, 2, wait for it to reach the wall, and then you can jump off. Just to show, let me show an example of a failure, since, you know, I'm too good at this and we didn't fail it. Just kidding. So if we wait, he's out, then I think we should be too far left, and I think this one should fail. So let's try that. Oh, okay, I guess that barely worked. Let me double check my position when I'm doing this. We're officially in the this is the informal. Oops. Okay, I was at 89. Yeah, we're out of the formal position. This is where I am learning while I'm talking. So, okay, 18.9. 90.9, 90.998. So that's less than 91. And I was aiming previously further right, and then I realized I needed to actually be further left like this. So that having a better angle here may expand the range slightly. So we'll see. Okay, interesting. We're still gonna do this 3 times. $90.9. Okay. Let me... Wow, this is 26. Okay, well let me just show why this one. This should absolutely not work. Because right now we're at 98. And I was saying earlier that we want to try to be in the 80s. So I'm expecting this one to fail. Yeah, okay. So that definitely fails. So it appears... Okay, so we're at 26 again, and I'll try to do quick ones this time. So that puts us at 96.98, which is a little further right. But this, I think, definitely should fail again. Yeah. And now, so now if we move twice, we're at 19.28. And if we do slow ones, this will put us at 91.37, which is above the 91, which I thought was the upper bound. Oh. I'm sorry, I forgot what I said that one was. I think I did 2, 19, and then I did slow ones. Okay, 91.37. So maybe with a really good angle, you can go all the way up to, well, we'll say 91.37 for sure works. Ideally, you want to be in the 80s. Let me look at this one. So if I move left and right, so that puts me at 20.299. 92.38. Okay, I'm going to mute this also, because it's going to make a loud noise if I don't, once I LJ over here. So 92.38. Let me try. Okay. Wow. Okay, so maybe you actually can be a little further right. So let me see. So yeah, for that one, 28, 29, or sorry, not 29, 19. So yeah, it's possible. Okay, so the takeaway from all of that is that rather than doing this 3 times, basically you might be able to get it over, or sorry, get it to work with only 2. We're really cutting it close that way. So personally, I probably would stick to 3. But only 2 might be able to work every time if you have a good angle. But anyway, yeah, that's why I showed, well, I didn't think 2 worked, but yeah, I went with 3 at the beginning of this video because I'm like, well, I know 3 works. And yeah, I might just stick to doing 3 anyway, just because I know that that's going to give me a slightly better position, and it only costs, let's see, probably less than a second, so. But yeah, you can just do something like this here. I just want to try it one more time since I'm messing with this, just for my own practice. And what I'm noticing here, as I'm doing this, okay, one more, is that, you know how I was saying to get it in the middle of this black part? I think if anything, like, kind of the left half of that is more ideal. So maybe where the orange dot is, like, the left edge of the orange dot is right up against that corner. I think maybe that's the perfect angle. But anyway. So yeah, it's a pretty cool trick. I'm pretty happy with that setup. It took a decent bit of messing around up on that platform, but yeah, anyway, from here what you can do is change to wolf and then flip around there, which you can find a different video on that, and then climb up to where that boss key chest is, and then proceed that way. But anyway, that should wrap it up for this one, so until next time.